Thank you, Mr. Rector. I'll begin these remarks with a story about a British explorer, a man named Sir Ernest Shackleton. Shackleton led an expedition with an ambitious goal. He attempted to cross Antarctica from sea to sea via the South Pole, a journey of about 1,800 miles. Shackleton and his crew set out in August 1914, just 1 century before most of you came to the grounds. As Shackleton's party approached Antarctica in their 3-masted ship, aptly named Endurance, disaster struck. The ship got trapped between massive chunks of floating ice and began to be slowly crushed. The 56-man crew escaped in lifeboats to a nearby ice floe. They camped for 2 months on the ice, waiting for rescue. The situation looked dire, and then things got really bad. The ice floe began to break apart. Drowning seemed imminent, so Shackleton ordered his men back into the lifeboats. After 5 days sailing across stormy seas, they reached an uninhabited island about 350 miles away. The tiny island was far from any shipping lanes, so Shackleton knew that their chances of being rescued were slim. If they left the island, they might die. But if they stayed on the island, they would certainly die. So he ordered his men back into the lifeboats again, and they set out for South Georgia Island, which was a center for whaling stations in those days. The island was 720 miles away. The men sailed for 15 days across raging seas, riding out a hurricane along the way, in constant danger of capsizing in their 20-foot boats, before finally making it to the safety of South Georgia Island. Talk about a tough trip. How could a team of 56 men stick together through this disastrous journey? How could they keep their cool and continue to cooperate? Why didn't they turn on one another and self-destruct? The story of Shackleton's journey is told in the Alfred Lansing book, Endurance, Shackleton's Incredible Voyage. First-year students in the engineering school's class of 2011 read this book as part of a common reading experience. The purpose was to understand how Shackleton built such a strong, resilient team. So how did he do it? When he was preparing for his journey to Antarctica, interest in the expedition was high, and Shackleton received more than 5,000 applications for jobs in his crew. Many of the applicants were highly qualified, highly trained seamen, men who had spent their entire adult lives working on the open seas, men with incomparable maritime skills. Once he had confirmed that an applicant had the necessary technical skill and training, Shackleton looked for other qualities. He looked for men with affirmative dispositions, men who seemed unlikely to panic in the face of difficulty, men who could roll with the punches. In other words, resilient men. I tell you this story because as you prepare for life and work after graduation, you will need to be as resilient as Shackleton and his crew. You have acquired deep knowledge and training at UVA. But knowledge and training are not enough. You will need to be resilient because you will face challenges in your own journey. And we must acknowledge that you faced more than your share of challenges already as students at UVA. Most of you entered as students in the fall of 2014. In your first semester, you experienced the disappearance and death of second-year student Hannah Graham. That same semester, you lived through the difficult period that followed publication of a recklessly reported Rolling Stone article that was later retracted. Over the years, you've experienced other challenges and moments of crisis, including the mistaken arrests of UVA students Martise Johnson and Elizabeth Daly by ABC officers, the detainment in North Korea of Otto Warmbier and his eventual death, and the attack by protesters espousing white supremacy and anti-Semitism on our grounds last August. With each situation, you face the glare of the national spotlight, and each time you showed your strength and resilience. There are those who say that your generation of college students are snowflakes. And I say to them, you have not met the UVA class of 2018. Of course, I experienced those setbacks with you, and I've encountered a few other unexpected obstacles and crises. No one's life on this planet is entirely smooth and without adversity, and preparing for this adversity is the key to being resilient. What helped me to be resilient? Faith. By faith, I certainly mean your religious or spiritual tradition, but I also mean the reliance on your deepest values. What means the most to you helps you to make meaning in times of chaos. Family and friends. Everyone needs a support network. Human beings do not thrive in isolation, and we all need loyal people we can call on when the chips are down. As you make transitions in life, such as the big one coming up this morning, don't cut yourself off from the people who have supported you. Stay in touch. A relationship can grow cold and fray if it is accessed only when there is trouble. Nourish your relationships and be a good friend to others. And finally, flexibility. There is nearly always more than one way to reach your goal. If one route is blocked, don't be afraid to try another. Sometimes the most creative solutions come when your original plan has been derailed. There is truth in the observation that necessity is the mother of invention. Sir Ernest Shackleton had wise words on this topic when he said, "Difficulties are just things to overcome, after all." Resilience is a survival skill, and research has shown that young people who are resilient often have three qualities. First, they are autonomous. All of you, by participating in UVA's long-standing tradition of self-governance, have built and strengthened your sense of autonomy. Second, resilient young people have problem-solving skills. Rather than retreating from the problems you faced, you rushed forward to seize upon them as opportunities to provide leadership. And in the process, you've left UVA a better place than when you arrived. And third, Resilient young people have a strong sense of purpose and an optimistic view of the future. All of you have shown a strong sense of purpose and a zest for the future during your time as students here. Consider two examples from your class. Bridget Anderson is a double major in astronomy and physics and computer science, and a Goldwater Scholar from Great Falls, Virginia. She showed her sense of purpose last summer when she traveled 8,000 miles to South Africa to work with a team of astronomers to study the far reaches of our solar system beyond Pluto. Bridget will continue to explore her purpose in graduate school at McGill University next year. Michael Watson is a Ridley Scholar from Wichita, Kansas, who double majored in drama and African American studies. She showed her sense of purpose when she wrote her first play, titled Canaan, a coming-of-age story about a teenager and his Washington, D.C. neighbors during the Civil Rights Movement. This spring, Micah won the Kennedy Center's National Undergraduate Playwriting Award. And now she's planning to pursue an advanced degree in dramatic writing. Finding your sense of purpose can involve struggle and encounters with adversity. One of our student athletes exemplifies this truth. Isaiah Wilkins who publicly revealed his struggles with depression and who also mentored elementary school students all year while still, obviously, being an elite athlete. Isaiah's willingness to be vulnerable helped many people acknowledge mental illness, and we will never know how many people he helped. In a book titled Mindset, The Psychology of Success, the Stanford psychologist Carol Dweck discusses two distinctive mindsets that shape how we live our lives. People who have a fixed mindset believe that basic human qualities, such as intelligence or talent, are essentially hardwired at birth. When people with a fixed mindset confront an obstacle, they give up, believing that they are not naturally gifted in that area or have no talent for it. But people who have a growth mindset believe that they can continually develop their abilities through hard work. Viewed from this mindset, whatever qualities you had at birth are the starting points. A person with the growth mindset cultivates lifelong learning and a hunger for achievement. Setting out for the wilds of Antarctica with his 56 men, Sir Ernest Shackleton had a growth mindset. Hold on to your own growth mindset as you venture forth. Changes are coming in our economy and in our world that will throw new challenges your way, whether it is machine learning or new international alignments. Don't let your response be, I can't do this, or I can't learn this. You know from your doing and learning at UVA that you can. Today, as we applaud your achievements and watch you step forward into the future, I'm reminded of a poem by one of our great American poets, one who has a special place at UVA. In our Albert and Shirley Small Special Collections Library, we have one of the world's finest collections of American literature dating from 1775 to 1950. The library contains every piece of fiction, poetry, and drama, and every essay published by an American in book form up to the year 1875, as much as it's been possible to assemble those pieces. And for the remaining years up to 1950, the library contains a nearly complete collection of the works of every major American writer. Within this treasure trove, we have nearly 400 separate pieces of the manuscript of Walt Whitman's Leaves of Grass, including the earliest surviving portions of the manuscript. In Leaves of Grass, there is a poem titled, "Poets to Come." In this poem, Whitman was speaking directly to the rising generation of young poets and scholars who would follow in his footsteps. He calls them a new brood, native, athletic, continental, greater than before known. Looking out at our graduates today, I see another new brood, greater than before known, certainly athletic and continental, but also tech-savvy, politically astute, service-oriented, along with all the other qualities that define you. At the end of Whitman's poem, he paints a picture of himself receding into the shadows as the next generation steps forward to take his place. With his work done, he says to the young scholars that he is expecting the main things from you. For the faculty who have taught you at UVA, for those who have guided your research and scholarship, and for all of us in the generations ahead of you, our role is similar. We have helped you develop your ability, and now we step aside as you step forward. And we watch you go forth, expecting the main things from you. In fact, we expect spectacular things from you. Accept the great challenges of this century. We expect you to solve the difficult problems that have confounded us in our time. To find the disease cures that have eluded us, to develop solutions to wicked environmental problems, to seek reason and cooperation in our nation's public discourse without stifling dissent and disagreement, to seek justice without forgetting mercy. As you take your degrees today, you embody our greatest hopes. We have great faith in our future because we have great faith in you. As you leave here to embark on your future, you carry our best wishes with you.